So welcome back to another video about the home building process. We're out at the job site we were on a little bit earlier where we talked about the undergrounds, and now they've got it all formed up and ready to pour the slab concrete and to pour the knee walls where the actual wood will attach to the walls. So here, right by where I'm standing, is where that knee wall is formed up. You've got insulation to the inside to insulate the slab, and then to the outside you've got a wooden form that's going to stop the concrete and form up the wall. Now, past that, you're going to see more insulation around the slab, and then you're going to see this plastic vapor barrier that's over top of gravel. So when the concrete truck comes in, they're going to pour this slab. Then, when that's completed, they're going to pour these knee walls, and these separator pieces will pull out and it will form that wall. And that, of course, is setting on top of the footer that we talked about earlier. So you'll notice around the undergrounds, everything's been taped up so that it creates a solid vapor barrier to keep moisture from coming up into the house from underground. You'll also notice that there's different form widths and different form ties. All that boils down to the way that the house is constructed and the way the engineers set the house up for construction. Everything all ties together like a big jigsaw puzzle as it comes together. So the next part of a jigsaw puzzle when a house is being built on slab is when they actually pour the slab itself. And what I mean by that is just a big slab of concrete. So earlier we talked about how they formed up the walls, and you can see we're at a different job site, but it's the same process. So all of those walls were poured up. Everything underneath, remember, there's a vapor barrier, gravel, all of that, and then they come in and they pour this slab of concrete. Now, we've all seen concrete out in our normal everyday life, but there's a lot more to it in a house than you might think about. So, first of all, obviously, they want the slab to be flat, and they want it to be smooth. So when they pour it, they bring it in, level up everything. Then they use this big, huge machine to flatten it all out and make it smooth like you see here. Now in this particular house, they also poured the front porch. So the front porch is poured, then they edged it, and they put in the rough finish so that when people walk on it, they don't slip and fall. So here you can see all of the undergrounds that are coming up through the slab, and you can see that all of that is where walls are going to be. Now, once they pour all of this, there's two things we know about concrete. Number one, it's hard, and number two, it's going to crack. So what they do to control how it cracks is they cut the slab into different sections so that it's a controlled crack. Or in other words, it's not going to just crack wherever and create problems in the house. They're going to control where those cracks are. So what they do is they come in with a saw and they cut these saw cuts in wherever the engineer has told them to cut them, so that when this concrete cures and when it settles, which it will, then it will crack in the appropriate places that aren't going to create any structural problems for the house. So one more thing to take into consideration is how they pour the floor of a garage. So we talked about this floor being really flat. This is where the living area of the house is going to be. So a different part of the slab on a slab house, or for that matter any house, is the slab that goes in the garage. So we talked about how flat it was in the other section of the house. The garage you don't want to be flat. So if you notice up at the front Where the house is, it starts out and you only have about, oh, let's call it about a brick and a half on the reveal. As it comes down, it's going to slope down so that water that was in the garage would flow out to the front of the garage. So that slope allows you to come in and clean out the garage with the hose. It allows snow to melt off of your car or rain, depending on where you live. But the most important thing is making sure that that water flows away from the house. So I hope you like these videos. Like, share, subscribe. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.